Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Rory and today I want to talk to you about a product that I just got for the brand new Panasonic S5, and it's the Smallrig Cage for the S5. Now I love Smallrig products. I have them for almost every camera that I own, and I've got a bunch of other Smallrig accessories to go with it. That being said, I'll point out at the start here that this is not a paid review. I buy all of my own equipment. I don't get anything given to me, so this will be an unbiased review of the Smallrig Cage for the Panasonic S5. So you can trust that everything that I say is my own opinion and not dictated by anybody else. Now in this review I want to go through basically why you should be using a cage if you have the Panasonic S5, who it's for, who it's not for, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and how it compares to, say, the cage on the Panasonic GH5, which is a very similarly sized camera. So why should you be using a cage at all? Now the number one reason why you should be using a cage for any of your cameras is protection. These cages are obviously very well built. They've got a very solid metal construction. So if you're going to drop your camera, which, I mean, if you're running gun filmmaker, then it's a definite possibility that you might accidentally drop a camera one day. This will at least provide a bit of protection for it. The other main reason why you would want a cage is to mount external accessories, such as a top handle, so that you can carry your camera around a little bit easier, side handles, monitors, things like that. So yeah, it's definitely a good idea to be mounting accessories. As you can see all over this cage, it's got little holes, the 3/4 inch thread holes, NATO rails down the side, so you can mount all sorts of accessories all over it. And the other main reason why I enjoy a cage is because it adds a little bit of weight to the camera. Now the cameras I use are a smaller form factor, which means you can run into difficulties if you're using larger lenses on a gimbal. Just that little bit of extra width at the bottom is often enough to stop the bottom of the lens from hitting the mounting plate when you're putting it on a gimbal or on a tripod. So let's talk about why I got this particular cage for the Panasonic S5. Firstly is the build quality. This thing is rock solid. It is, I would imagine, completely bulletproof. I've had Smallrig cages and a lot of them have marks and scratches all over them, but I would trust this to take a tumble and come out without a dent on it. So yeah, absolutely, the build quality of these is really, really good. The second reason is it's got lots of mounting points. So as you can see on this one here, on the top you've got a lot of 3/4 inch threads. You've got the big RE thread on the top if you want it as well. You've got an RE thread on the side as well as some more 3/4 inch. You've got NATO rail on the side. You've got a hot shoe mount on the top. You've got tons of thread holes on the bottom as well. So it's just really, really versatile if you're wanting to mount a lot of things onto this cage. The other main reason is it's actually a really sleek design. So it fits in really well with the Panasonic S5. It's not big and bulky like some of the other cages that you might see on somewhere like Amazon, or even some of Smallrig's older cages like the one that I've got on the GH5. The other really cool thing about this particular cage is it's got a non-twist screw. So what that means is that there's a little screw that goes in the side and it screws through the one of the eyelets which normally holds one of the neck straps on the camera, and it stops the camera from twisting about within the cage, which can over time loosen it and make it fall out. And finally, for the Panasonic S5, a cage is almost essential if you're planning to use an external monitor. Because the S5 only has a micro HDMI port, it is a lot more fragile than a full-size HDMI port, so you're going to want to use a cage to then mount a bracket which will help protect the HDMI port from getting knocked and bumped, which could end up rendering your HDMI port in your camera useless if you don't protect it. The one main thing that I really enjoy about this cage is where you actually grip on the camera. It's quite sleek and flush, and you can barely tell that you're actually holding onto a camera with a cage when you're holding it, unlike some other cages which can jut out quite a long way, such as the one with the GH5. Now, what's the main differences between this cage for the Panasonic S5 and the cage for the Panasonic GH5, both of which are very similarly sized cameras? Well, this one is a lot more sleek, as I've said. The one on the Panasonic GH5 is a lot more bulky and more square, so it tends to jut out a lot further, and it does get in your way a little bit more when you're using the camera. Because of that, the Panasonic S5 cage is a lot more comfortable to use. You can definitely hold it for a lot longer during the day without feeling like it's digging into your hands. One big negative for the S5 cage compared to the GH5 cage is there's actually a lot less mounting points on the S5. On the GH5, you've got mounting points on the front of the cage, you've got more mounting points on the top, you've got NATO rails on both sides, not just one side like the S5, and yeah, overall there's just more options to put things on. Does that matter in real life? I don't know. I probably would never reach the limit of what this cage can hold, but I'm sure for some people that would be a big difference for them. With all those positives being said, there are a couple of things I don't like about this cage and cages in general. With cages in general, they can get heavy on a long day, which can be annoying if you're having to hand hold your camera for a long time. For me, I don't mind that. I actually prefer a little bit of extra weight, but if you are holding the camera for a long time, it could be an issue. Another thing I don't like about cages in general, and particularly this one, is it can make it a little bit harder to change the setting dial. You have to get in there a little bit more to be able to change it. Not necessarily a bad thing, because you're not going to be able to bump it to change it to something you didn't want to, but it is something to consider. But the main thing I don't like about this cage in particular is the fact that they've put the hot shoe on the right hand side. Basically what that means, I mean, when you consider the hot shoes on the right hand side, the mic jack's on the left hand side, so you've got to stretch it straight across the front of your screen if you're going to put a microphone on there. And if you are going to put any sort of microphone or anything on there, it's going to get in the way of being able to press the shutter button. So to me, that mount there is more or less pretty useless, because you're not going to be able to use it and actually have it functional given where it is in relation to all your settings dials on the camera. So yeah, that's my quick review of the Smallrig cage for the Panasonic S5. Overall, I think it's a really positive cage. I highly recommend it, especially if you're a video shooter like I am. If you're shooting photography, then a cage is probably not going to be useful for you at all. But yeah, for a video shooter, definitely a worthwhile investment, something you should definitely consider having in your bag. So yeah, that's it from me today. I hope you guys found that useful. If you did, leave a like down below and don't forget to subscribe. I'll have more videos coming up to do with the Panasonic S5, as well as some more travel content now that we're allowed to travel again. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have had a great Christmas and have a safe and happy New Year, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.